Welcome to PioPitch podcast. My name is Anthony Sabatino, class of 2024 here at Marietta College. Joining us today is Mr. Anthony Williams and his wife Dee. Mr. Williams is the owner of Anthony's Express Mobile Detailing located in Parkersburg, West Virginia. He was also recently awarded the 2020 Mid-Ohio Entrepreneur of the Year Award. Mr. Williams, thank you for joining us today and congratulations on your award.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself, some of the background on the business, and how it came about?
I am from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Go Eagles. I came down here to go to college at West Liberty. Got out of there, lived in the Wheeling area for about 10 years. Moved to Parkersburg about 30 years or so ago and started my business. And that was 1993, but I didn't actually start my business until 2002. As I said before we started our business, the genesis of the whole thing was actually a couple different things, but mainly a guy had mentioned to me how much trouble he had getting his vehicle done and how inconvenient it was for him, and also the price he had to pay for it. So he was speaking about having to take his vehicle to a detail shop and them keeping his car for a couple days or all day, and then him having to get a ride to go back to get his car. And I just thought that was just too long of a process. And, sometimes people say things to you and it just resonates with you because you just keep thinking about it. You think about all the conversations you have with people. Out of all of that stuff that they say to you, it's just little bits of information sometimes get through and you just keep thinking about it and thinking about it. And for some reason, I just focused on what he was talking about, and I said, there's got to be a better way. So I had a occasion to take a big bucket of water down to my car. I'll wash my car, and when I look back, the car was absolutely clean. When I look back, I had tons of water left. And then I began to think, man, this is doable. You can do this as a business. Then I had to figure out the infrastructure as far as the products you're going to use, the best products, the best methods. I had to figure a lot of that out on the fly. So I got started in April 22nd of 2002. I was working as a waiter downtown at the Blennerhassett Hotel, put in my 2-week notice, and I started this. And everybody says, go into business. I was telling everybody about this idea. It's like, Tony, it's a great idea. But what they didn't tell me was that I was going to starve for 2.5 years, which I literally did. I literally starved my first 2.5 years. And part of that was that it's a new service. Who ever heard of somebody coming to your home or your workplace to actually detail your car professionally? It was a new idea, and people really weren't keyed into that. So that was another reason why it was a little bit tough. But I got started, and as time went on, I think it was my 7th or 8th year in business, I met my lovely wife, Dee, here. And Dee, when she joined the business is when the business really took off, because, they say when you have a partner that, that partner has strength and you have weaknesses. Well, in our case, the biggest thing that stood out, at least as far as our personalities and the way we go about life, I'm scattershot. I'm here, I'm there, and she is like ultra organized. I had a business, but it wasn't organized. And she brought that organization to the business. And this business today is not where it is without her. I'm sure with me at the helm, everything would still be scattershot. It's just my person. That's just how I am. And she came in and steadied the ship. And we really started to take off as a business when she came along. We're both recovering drug addicts. We don't say that as, as something shameful. We see it as something great because we've had the opportunity to help out a whole bunch of people. I have almost 20 years clean. She's coming up on 13. And what we try and do is to help people in the community. If you live in this community, you know how bad the drug problem is. And we work in Narcotics Anonymous and just try to help people out. Our business has also allowed us to do a lot of charitable things here in the community as well. We both love doing that. We both come from humble beginnings, and we don't forget where we come from. So no matter how successful we get, we are always going to reach back and try and help people out. And this business has given us the latitude to actually do that and speak in a lot of different forums and just help people out. So it's more than a business. We feel like we're connected to the community. The community is what supports us. As far as winning Entrepreneur of the Year, once they announced that, I cried like a little baby, man. I swear it was disgusting to look at. My wife told me it was disgusting to look at, and after I saw the video, I agreed it was pretty disgusting. But once I had my cry, I was like, I just sat back in my chair and I was like, and I took a deep breath and I was like, this must be what it's all about, because that journey from the time I started my business to Entrepreneur of the Year was 18 years. And there was a lot of struggle in between that 18 years. You start a business, everything isn't rosy at first, and even afterwards. And Anthony, you're in a family business. It's not all roses all the time, particularly when you're dealing with customers. You have to be able to be flexible. And that's another thing my wife has helped me with is flexibility. And she's actually taken the emotion out of business. You can't be in a business and conduct things on an emotional basis. Your business is not an emotional business in terms of your customers. So if we had a customer that just treated us like, oh, it's just those car people, we can treat them any old kind of way. I'm the guy that says, no, you can't treat my workers any old kind of way, and we will walk off the job. My wife is the moderator. She's the one in that same situation that will keep the business. She takes the emotion out of it. She's also helped that way. Me, I'm still the same way as far as treating me or the people that work for us. When you treat our workers nasty, it just infuriates me. I see how hard these guys work, and they work hard, provide for their families and this and all that, and I just don't like that aspect of it. But I think overall it helps when you can take the emotion out of business and look at it just as business. I've had times when I've said, well, we're not going to go ahead and do this account because I don't like, well, that's hurting my pockets because I don't like this guy. I'm not going to take his business. It's stupid. So like I said, the business has actually taken off quite a bit once she got involved. So we're very grateful for where we are right now as far as the business. We have competitors, lots of competitors here in the Mid Ohio Valley, but we seem to be holding our own. So I'm pretty sure I went on probably a bit longer, which is my custom, than you guys would have wanted, but you asked, I told.
Thank you. So you sort of touched a little bit on the next question.
Yeah.
Obviously, you two work together. You two obviously complement each other very well. So we can kind of skip over that a little bit. Obviously, you two never have any disagreements. Definitely no disagreements there. How do you guys handle that and kind of find common grounds there?
What we try to do is talk to each other about why we want to do something or why we don't want to do something, like making the pros and cons list. That's something that I've always tried to do. Kenny's more of a jump in with both feet all at one time, don't ask any questions, and I'm the one that's over here like, but wait a minute, we might want to like examine this from a different angle. What if this happens? What if that happens? Most of the time he calls me a negative Nancy, but his mother told me that was okay. So I tell him no a lot. She said to do that.
Not when it counts, though.
But generally what it is like if he comes up with a new idea for the business and he asks me my opinion, I tell him what I think would be good about it and what I think would be not so great about it. And then he makes the decision based on what he thinks that he wants to at least try. We try to stay out of each other's lanes. He does the marketing part and, buying the supplies and taking care of that. And I'm generally the one who always takes care of the customers, the schedule, and directing the technicians to which place they go to and how to do the job that they're doing. I try not to be in his business and he tries not to be in my part of the business. But when it does happen, we try and discuss about what's the best option for the business and the company and the customers, not so much about what we want all the time. There has been some times and I'm like, oh, that's just a little bit more money than you need to spend. And then he tells me the reason why he wants to do it. And I'm like, well, it's the company and the company needs to grow. And that, we talk about it and we come to a decision. Now, that doesn't mean we don't argue. And when we're not recording, I'll tell you how I fixed that problem.
I know that you also touched on this a little bit earlier too, but you guys help people who've had substance abuse issues. You guys are obviously doing a great job, staying clean, and that's awesome. Congratulations to both of you for that. Why do you do this? Why do you take such a gamble on people who you don't know what they're going to go do? Why do you do this? And how does it change their lives? And how do you guys kind of help them get in the right direction to clean themselves up and stay on that path?
I've got a thing that I love to help people, but in order for me to stay clean, I have to help other people. It's not just about helping them become, or, make something of their lives so much as it helps me stay clean, helping other people. It's great when it does happen. It's wonderful when people grab a hold of recovery and they grow and they stay, on that path of recovery, and they get jobs and, work with their families. That's awesome. We've been to a lot of weddings. We've been to a lot of baby showers, in the recovery, we've done that. But what we also done, we've been to a lot of funerals, and sometimes the funerals has outweighed the weddings and the baby showers. This past couple of years, it has really. We know where they at and how they think because we've been that person. So we try to give them the benefit of the doubt. It don't always work. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But you have to take a chance on people because somebody took a chance on us. Somebody helped us. Somebody gave us a helping hand when we needed it. I was not able to get a job in Parkersburg because I have 2 felony convictions. Tony was the only person to give me a job. Tony was the only person who would give me the job to be able to pay to get off paper and to stay out of jail and stuff like that. So we try to help other people do the same thing because it's hard out here when you have felonies or records or past indiscretions that people know about in this town. They don't want to give you a helping hand a lot of times because they think that you're going to burn them. And it's probably true. A lot of people do get burned. We've gotten burnt quite a few times, but it doesn't mean you don't help people.
Right.
Because even if you get one person out of 50 that actually does what you hope that they can accomplish, at least you had that one. We can't think about the 49 other people that burned us or didn't stay clean or that, that died. We can't keep track like that. It wouldn't do anybody any good. It wouldn't do me any good. I wouldn't be able to help other people if I thought the worst of them all the time.
And as Dee said, a lot of times people, since we're Narcotics Anonymous, we obviously go to Narcotics Anonymous meetings. So we actually bump into people at those meetings. Now, not so much since COVID started. We're all on Zoom like we're doing right now as far as a participation vehicle, but we run into people and you get to know a little bit about their personality. Just about everybody in Narcotics Anonymous has run afoul of the law. They have an open CPS case. They, like Dee was saying, they have a lot of social indiscretions, things like that. Now, being that Dee and I were both in that situation before, it's not a thing where we just take anybody and say, hey, we're going to hire them.
Right.
We actually have to see something in a person as far as one, hard work, honesty, and a willingness to show up to work. A lot of people that don't have addiction problems just don't even like to work. So we try to identify those things. And then once they get with us, we know what to look for. Well, obviously in a business like ours, you could be in somebody's car and customers have belongings and things like that. So we have to have things in place to guard against that, because in helping somebody out, you don't want to lose your customer. We found a nice little medium to help out with things like that. We can see when a person is struggling. We can tell when a person is being dishonest with us. A lot of people that have addiction problems are not very truthful. Well, we can spot that right away. It's funny sometimes when they come around and they try things with us and we're like, no, we're not going for that. This is the way that it really is. We've been in your situation and we've said what you've said like hundreds of times and we're not going to go for it. And it helps them out as far as their recovery. It also lets them know that if you just work hard, things can go your way. And a lot of people will come to us. We find great pleasure in that, like Dee was saying, where someone will go out and they'll look for a job and they see, when they go to the job, they run their record and they see they've got a felony on and they won't hire them. One of the reasons that we hire people is so that we can be their first job on what we call the road back. There are not very many people that wake up one day and say, you know what, I'm going to be a detailer for the rest of my life. I think I want to be a detailer. Most people are not going to do that. So we realize that people are going to transition to another job after they work with us. But the important thing is that they get employment with us. That way, when they go to another job, the felony is still on their record, but they have work experience with us. They give us a call and ask us what type of worker they were and things like that. And we can then give them a good or bad reference as to what their work was like with us. So we've been the start of a lot of people getting back on the road to employment since we started this thing about 18 years or so ago. So you got to give people chances. People have given us chances too.
It's really great that you guys do that, and I know they probably really appreciate it as well. So obviously the times we're going through are pretty uncertain with COVID-19 and everything. So how has that affected your business, and how have you guys made changes through the shutdowns and through all the stuff that's going going on right now in the world?
When it first started, we slowed down. We only ran one crew. We made sure that they had gloves, masks, and they didn't get in contact with the customers. That's an option that we got right now. We've kept that installed in the business, even though people are not nearly as scared as they used to be. Like when it first started, they were real paranoid. And we would have them put their money and keys in a car, and we would disinfect everything, and they didn't even have to talk to the technicians or see them. I did it all by phone with the customers and stuff like that. So we still do that with a lot of people, especially some of the older customer base, because we know that they've got underlying issues. You know, anybody can be asymptomatic. So I don't want to bring anything home to my husband or here at my house, and I don't want my technicians to take anything home to their kids or their families. So we try to make sure that they're safe and we're safe. We changed up some of the products we use. We use stronger products than we did before. It still cleans as good, but it disinfects as more. We make sure we have gloves and everything. I had a customer the other day that tested positive for corona, and she called me before we got to her house. And what we did was I switched with the guys. I made them go to another job, and I took her job. And what I did is I covered myself from head to toe to make sure that I didn't get anything on me or breathe anything in. I wore masks, I wore gloves. And as soon as I got done with her vehicle, I made sure that I cleaned her keys off, and I put them on her doorstep, rang her bell, and stood at my car, which is about 20 feet away, to let her know that I was going to text her for her next appointment. I disinfected everything in the house. I came straight home and changed my clothes and changed out my mask, threw away my gloves, and made sure that I was still safe to get back in my own vehicle and go to my next customer. So there's a lot of things that we're doing differently now. The customers that we have, they are really great about letting us know if something is going on, if they got to be on quarantine, if they may or may not have it. We let them know that that's okay to let us know ahead of time. That way we can take better precautions, which we take really good precautions anyway, but we get even safer. We make sure that we have changes of clothes and stuff like that if we know that they've got COVID or if they've been suspected to be around people with COVID. You know, we don't want nobody to get sick. So we're trying to be very, very careful.
And from a marketing end, what we've had to do is we've had to advertise more. We spend more on advertising than we used to because of the work situation and COVID and people not having jobs and things like that. Disposable money in the economy is not like it used to be. The disposable income is just not there like it used to be. So what we have to do to keep the same level of business is to advertise a bit more. Our business has dropped a little bit because of COVID. We just grind it out every single day. As far as what we have to do we just take every single day as it comes. Everybody has had this refrain since this started. I'll be glad when things get back to normal. We will be too. But until then, as a business, one of the things you have to be is you have to be flexible and nimble and be able to change what it is you're thinking, your methods, your pricing, whatever it is, you've got to be able to change those on a dime and still benefit the business.
I can imagine it's been quite the struggle so far, and who knows when this will end. Building off of that, I know there might be times right now where you've probably been like, is this even worth keeping the business going? But have there been times where it's just like, is this worth still doing? Should I just stop? Should I quit? And if you have, who's been kind of that motivating factor, or what's motivated you to say, I just need to keep pushing through. It's going to be worth it. It's all going to be worth it in the end.
I was lucky in that in several ways when it comes to that particular mindset for me personally, and I was lucky to get with somebody that has the same mindset. First, my mom. After my first 2 years in business, it was so hard. And I called home. I told Mom, I said, you know, I think I'm going to have to quit. I'm going to have to find something else. I said, this is tough. I said, Mom, I can't even pay my bills. I said, I'll borrow money from people and I'll get a couple cars to do. And then I have to pay them back the money that I borrowed from them. I said, it's like I'm on a wheel. I said, I think I'm going to have to quit. She simply said, son, I didn't raise no quitters. And I never, ever, ever, ever one time entertained the thought of quitting again. Ever, ever, ever. She's the same way. It doesn't matter how bad things get. We're not quitting. I will never, ever, ever quit. I didn't get in this business to quit. From what I've experienced in business throughout the years, particularly when I first started, is things are going to go wrong. And sometimes they're going to go wrong for an extended amount of time, but you just can't quit. What's that saying? They said, tough times come and go. Tough people don't. So you're going to have tough times. It's already baked into just the ebb and flow of life. Get over it. You're going to have tough times. Everything is not always going to go your way. And sometimes tough times last a long time. That doesn't mean that you have to quit. It just means you have to find other ways to be successful.
One more question, but I just wanted to say again, thank you guys very much for taking time out of your busy day and your busy schedule to come and meet and talk with us today. What advice do you have for people who are maybe pursuing the same thing, owning their own business, kind of taking those steps in the right direction to be where they want to be? What advice do you have to them and what they can do? What's I guess, some advice that you wish you had when you started?
I would just say that if you want to start a business, you need to stick with the idea. Don't be wishy-washy about it. If you're going to have a successful business or even a business that lasts out through all the troubling times like we're having right now, don't give up. Don't stop just because you're tired. My bills still keep coming in, so I can't stop working. In order for us to be able to grow as a business, you have to think outside the box sometimes and, just keep going. Just keep thinking, keep learning, keep being knowledgeable about whatever it is that you want to do. Always stay, up with the game. If you have to watch videos and read books or whatever it is, whatever your job entails, make sure you study, because you can never not learn enough. There's so much knowledge out there. You just need to keep using it.
Quitting is easy.
Oh, yeah.
Quitting's the easiest thing you'll ever do. The tough part comes in, like I said, when times get bad and you're just sticking it out. And if you're going to start a business, you're going to find a lot out about yourself. You have to have people around you that I think love you, number one, and within that framework, people that love you and that are not afraid to tell you the truth. And sometimes when people tell us the truth, it stings a little bit. But the reason that they're telling you this is because they love you. They're not really trying to score points. It's important to have people in your life that love you and that are not afraid to tell you the truth. Those are few and far between. If you can find one, you got a shot. Also, I see that a lot of entrepreneurs or potential entrepreneurs don't put the time in. You have to put the time in. You have to make yourself and educate yourself, like my wife was saying, about your craft, about what it is that you do. Your business can't just run during your business hours. It has to be an all-consuming thing until you get on your feet. I got a friend of mine I was talking to here, a couple months or so ago, and he started his business. He's doing well now, but for a minute, he wasn't. I remember when he first went in business, he hit a dry spell about a year and a half, 2 years or so ago. And he was telling me, man, he says, I just lost that focus. He said, I'm in there playing Fortnite for like 4 hours and I could have been doing this. I could have been doing, I'm like, yeah, man, I know, because I'm a sports junkie. If you can throw it, roll it, pitch it, I love it. I love ice hockey. I love soccer. I love everything. And that can consume a lot of time with me. But I have to be able to step away from that, even still after being in business for 18 years, and find out more about my craft every single day. Another thing I would say to people that are going in business is you have to act like you're on an island by yourself. There are going to be people that love you, that want to see you succeed, but tell you that it's not a good idea. There are going to be haters, okay, that'll tell you, no, you shouldn't do that. Don't go into that. If you have an idea and you have a vision of something that you want to do, don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it. Don't let anybody tell you you can't do it. You're going to have those, particularly when times get bad. And the last thing I would say is try your best to surround yourself with good people. They are few and far between too. When you get good people that help your business, you have to do whatever it is you can within reason to hang on to. A lot of people don't want to work nowadays. So when you do find that right person to fill whatever position, be it a marketing position, a working position, managerial position, do what you can to hang on to those people, because it'll be profitable for you in the end. But there's a lot of other things, but those are the ones that come to mind right now for me.
Thank you guys very much for taking this time out of your day. Again, like I said, I really do appreciate it, and I thank you guys very much.
Hey, good luck to you, man.
Thank you.